Musa Mohammed Hafiz, one of the G Plus champions. That's Sexual Health Education Plus platform with Savannah signatures. I'm also a National Service Personnel Health Information Officer at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. That's briefly what I'll say.
Okay.
Okay, I am Asma. I'm a volunteer from PPAG, Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana.
Okay.
I'm also an intern at Great Change Ghana.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Okay, so welcome. I'm Shao and then Hafiz.
Thank you.
Okay, so today the conversation is around drug and substance abuse. I am sure that you have all heard a lot about it. So I don't know, when we say drug and substance abuse, like what comes to your head?
I mean, most of the times when I hear drug abuse, it's always about, using drug to some point, mostly beyond the normal. So you have individuals, maybe the doctor says take one, they take two.
Okay.
So that's basically, from the layman perspective, that's
Taking drugs that are not being prescribed by the doctor.
Okay. And at what point are we saying that you are abusing this drug?
when we talk about abusing drugs, it's basically in three folds.
Okay.
One, you are either taking what you've not been asked to take, so that's you are taking without prescription. Two, we have individuals that they've been prescribed a medicine or a drug, and they are told to take one and they take two. That's the second scenario. The third scenario, individuals are prescribed drugs, they've been asked to take it. They've been asked to take two, they end up taking one. So we have a situation where you are taking but you are not asked to take at all. We have a situation where you've been asked to take but you are taking beyond what you've been asked. And the final case of you being asked to take but taking, far lower than expected.
Okay, so shall we
Okay, I would say taking a drug, at a point you can't stop. Let's say I'm a musician and I'm coming on stage, and let's say I usually take alcohol. So coming on stage to perform, I have to take alcohol by force because I am now addicted to it. So it's a matter for me to take it before I go perform well.
Okay. So I'm thinking, like, what substance do you see young people abusing?
With regards to substances, these days the list is endless.
Sure.
I mean, the basic ones are always substances. The most recent ones I've seen is snuff. I think we have snuff, others take glue. I'm sure has other wonderful list.
Okay, so what substance do you hear young people abusing?
Young people, current alcohol.
Okay.
Is something that young people abuse. And also, when you look at drug abuse, sometimes we see it to be the hard drugs. It could be paracetamol
Yeah.
or menstrual painkillers. Sometimes we do abuse it because it's not being prescribed. But because I am feeling the pain, I have to take it so that the pain will be relieved. So there are a lot of drugs people abuse, but then we have a differ. That's the hard ones where people take tramadol and it stimulates them.
Okay. There's also this thing that I see a lot of young people take it all the time. Energy drinks.
I was just waiting for you to come up on that.
Energy drinks, and sometimes I'm thinking, like, well, I've tasted it just once. I didn't even drink the whole bottle. I just poured it into my mouth. It tasted funny, and then I chewed the whole thing away. That was the first and last time I ever took it. I feel like this thing is not even nice. So why do people think that?
The reasons are endless, as you mentioned. I've actually had my share of the energy drinks, especially when I was in school. Mostly it was usually during exams period. As you roam around campus and you are finding it difficult to get energy drink because all of us are trying to get a share so that we could, do TDD as we used to call it till daybreak. We are trying to stay overnight for examinations that we are supposed to have prepared for in advance. And so that's a major reason for the intake of such drinks, especially the major ones where we have Raj, the Storm, and the Ram.
Yeah. And another thing too is I hear that these days people are abusing glue. No, like what? I'm trying to get a hang of this, like glue. What? How do they do that? Is it that they just have you heard or experienced anyone like using glue as a form of getting high or something?
Actually, I've never seen, but I've also heard of that. But what I heard from the person who shared it was like the smell that they usually use the smell as to make them
Feel high.
Feel high.
Wow.
That's what normally happens is that even the normal super glue that we buy to mend our, sandals and stuff, when you open it, it has this very high spirited smell.
I really hate it.
I understand that, and you remember that that's always far from our nose. So
Yeah.
imagine that same smell and now very close to your nose. So it is, as you said, it makes you high. I don't really know the science beyond that, even though it's proven to be working for some people.
And then there is a recent one too that I was at this program when they talked about it, that people use menstrual pads.
Really?
Some people use menstrual pad, I don't know whatever they add to it, and then somehow they get high off it too.
What I have to say with that, as individuals do other kinds of highs, as the more you do with diminishing marginal utility setting, you do it more and then you are still not getting the high that you used to get at the beginning. So people are constantly at every point in time trying to concoct other ways to still get the same feeling when they started. And I'm sure it's even getting out of hand now that we are into menstrual pads.
So if you just joined us, this is the Young Voices Forum coming to you live from the SavSign TV studios. Today we are talking about substance abuse, and you can leave your comments and your contributions in the comments. Actually, in fact, today is the day I need all the contributions because today it's not from an expert point of view. Today we are just having a conversation. We are just sharing our experiences and whatever is that you want to add. So just leave your comments in the comment section. Just leave your contributions and everything, and then I will read them out when it's time for me to do that. And I'm counting on you to help with this discussion. So what are some of the causes of drug and substance abuse? Like, what do you think would drive a person to somehow abuse drugs?
I mean, one of the things that came up, as I mentioned from the beginning, was, to improve studies. I mean, whether we like it or not, as students, one way or another, we always have to bend the midnight candle, trying to make sure that you study what you got against the end goal, which is always exams. So at one point or the other, you have individuals abusing different manner of substances just to make sure that they are able to have that energy to study and pass their exams as anticipated. So we have some individuals who go in for energy drinks, and we have some people doing tea. I mean, that's one thing we also skipped up. We have individuals putting as much as 3 to 4 tea bags in one cup, just so that they have so much caffeine in their system to stay awake and make sure that they get the needed awakening, as I will call it, to study.
Yeah.
And that is just one piece of it.
So would you say that societal pressure it's a major cause of, it's a major contributor of drug abuse?
I mean, as far as society is concerned, society is always made up of different classes. And so at every point in time, young people want to belong to one class within the society. And so, for example, as young as I am, I want to always be part of my peers. And then these are peers that, for example, once in a while, they are always, having some drink-up parties and alcohol is involved. And so at every point in time, I want to also, you know, fit in, because when you go to such a party, alcohol party, and then you are not taking anything, it means you be at one corner, you are missing out on all the fun. So in order to belong, you know, this age, this is a time that we are yearning for belongingness.
Yeah.
I think as one of Abraham Maslow's theory of needs, they need to love and be loved. And so you want to belong. So as that goes on, you want to also do things that will make you fit in. So before you realize I'm drinking, I'm smoking, possibly doing other drugs as tramadol along the way.
Okay, so Amshal, so back to you. What do you think are some of the causes of drug and substance abuse?
I think curiosity. Curiosity can be one point, because seeing people do abuse it, and also the friends we follow, sometimes they do advise us on what they experience. So as a young person, you also want to test and see what it really feels. So you end up testing it. And also one thing I also heard that motivates them to take is it gives them sexual, it makes them last, especially when it comes to intercourse. The guys do last longer. And some of these medicines that they said it's really, even though that's not the fashion as tramadol.
Yeah.
Tramadol is one of the things they do take for that.
Yeah, so so what I get from a health professional is that tramadol is something that it's a drug that originally is a painkiller.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So because of that, when I go to the hospital and they give me a painkiller, and it's tramadol, I just quickly tell them that I don't want to take it. They should change it for me. As an ulcer patient, it's not all painkillers that I can take. So I understand that one of the ones that can agree with me is tramadol. But I try to stay away from it because of the whole the whole tag that comes with it. Yes. Or I just feel like, what if I take it and somehow I get hooked to it? But then I've been told a couple of times that, oh, I mean, it's nothing. And then they are also in dosages, but no, I am not taking that chance. So I always tell them that, you know what, if there's any other painkiller that can agree with me, you give me that one. I am not touching tramadol. And also, I think one of the things too that we also fail to address is, you know, people abuse sleeping tablets.
Sleeping tablets.
Yes. People abuse sleeping tablets because there are people that can't sleep.
Yes.
So imagine someone is working and the person is also schooling. Not to make any excuses for drug abuse or substance abuse, and then the person probably has to meet a deadline, and then the person has to also, you know, study for exams or something, and it's like the person goes on and on. It gets to a point where the person can't have a proper, the person's sleeping pattern like changes.
The system adapts.
Yeah, it changes. So you realize that you can't even have sleep even if you don't have anything doing. It's like your body is so used to being awake between the hours of a particular time. So there's nothing you can do about it. And then people start taking sleeping tablets to, you know, help them to sleep.
That's actually, I've had that experience, but I never actually thought of sleeping pills actually.
Yeah.
Even though, as you said, it's not an excuse for drugs. I mean, at a point in time, I was doing some night shifts at the hospital there. Yeah. And so I got used to the night shifts. You know, night shifts, basically, you don't sleep that much. Yeah. So when I was off night shift and I was usually in the, it gets to the nights, I'm all on bed. I can't sleep. So sometimes I end up browsing till daybreak.
Wow.
So as time goes on, these days I sleep like a baby. As early as 8 a.m. I'm already gone. At 8 p.m. I'm already gone. So I'm sure that with that it requires some time to do self-rehabilitation to get yourself through it.
Yeah. So have you ever been tempted to use drugs more than the normal dosage before? Like, have you ever been at a point where like you're in so much pain and you feel like the doctor says, you know what, take 2. You're like, this doctor doesn't know what's wrong with me. I know people like that. I know someone that when she goes to the hospital and they give her drugs and she comes home, the dosage is like, take 2. She tell me that this doctor doesn't know what is wrong with me. If the doctor was feeling the pain I am feeling right now, like, to not prescribe 2 for me, then the person goes ahead to take 4, like thinking that somehow, taking more than the required dosage would step on the pain instantly or something. Like, have you ever had such an experience before?
Yes, I have. I have tried that.
What happened?
Okay, actually, I had a toothache and I went to hospital. The doctor gave me he prescribed some drugs for me. So I went and bought it, and when I got home, and the day before I went to the hospital, I couldn't sleep. And even that same day, it was worrying me seriously. So when I went, he said I should take it 1 in the morning and in the afternoon too. So I felt like the doctor was just giving me, because the pain I had last night was serious. So I had to take more than the number. And it's really made me not to feel myself after taking it. So I got to realize it wasn't right for me.
Yeah. Okay. So at this juncture, if you just joined us, this is the Young Voices Forum, and our topic for today is drug and substance abuse. You can leave your contributions in the comment section so that you can join the discussion, because today we are not talking from an expert point of view. These are just young people just having a conversation around substance and drug abuse. So you can leave your comments and you can join us in the comment section. But before that, I am giving out airtime. So if you just joined us, I'm getting a comment. Sulemana Humu says watching. Thank you, Sulemana Humu. You can share and let your friends also join the conversation. So right now I'm giving out airtime, and I'm giving out Vodafone. So it's fastest fingers, whoever gets it. So I'm giving out Vodafone. So if you get it, please do indicate it in the comment section. And let me acknowledge it. Before my production manager will be like, okay, so why didn't anyone admit that they've gotten the airtime? Are you sure you gave it out? So the numbers are as follows, and it's Vodafone 64854727252253. It's the numbers are as follows. Vodafone airtime, it is 64854727252253. So that is Vodafone airtime. If you got it, please indicate it in the comment section. Thank you. So back to our conversation. So what are some of the effects of abusing drugs? What are some of the things like you've seen around that you can say, you know what, these are some of the effects of abusing drugs?
I mean, the basic one I've always seen around our society is the loss of respect and integrity. I mean, we are all here. I'm here today. We are discussing as young people. The moment you get to hear that I've started doing drugs, I mean, such as, let's be specific, like weed. I mean, I start greeting you to some extent. You wouldn't want to even let people know that you know me.
Yeah.
Because everybody don't want to be associated with individuals that are doing drugs. Because indirectly people would think we are also doing some.
Yeah.
So you realize that in society, as we are people that are known to be doing drugs, such as marijuana and possibly tramadol, as so serious these days, we ourselves are victims because we do away with such things. Because at every point in time, we don't want to be saying that, Charlie, you ever knew this guy? And even though we are even to some extent fueling the act, and it's something that we as individuals need to work on as we move on.
Yeah. So what are some of the effects of abusing drugs you know about?
As a young person, you can easily be dropped out of school, because putting yourself into drugs, you may lose all the attention you need to study, and you may end up living on the street. And which will also cause a burden to the family, because you are no more going to school. You are not doing your own things. And the drugs too, it stimulates your mind. So you cannot concentrate on your education, but to be dropped out. And one thing I also see as an effect is you may end up, as a young girl, you may end up getting unwanted pregnancy.
Okay.
Because you taking these drugs.
Yeah.
You may not taking these drugs that are not being prescribed. You may think like, let's say you are using the emergency contraceptives, and some take it daily, and some others too take it.
Yes. So let me put a pin into that. I think that's one aspect that we always forget to talk about when it comes to substance abuse. You know, when we hear substance abuse, the first thing that comes to mind is the weed, the codeine, the tramadol, and the rest. But then we also forget that people abuse just these regular drugs that we are given. Like you go to the hospital, they give you a drug, you take more than the dosage, or you take less than the given dosage. It can also be and another one that I think we also forget to talk about is the contraceptive, the emergency contraceptives. Yes. Actually, I'm sure you have some knowledge on that. Yes. Like with the emergency contraceptive, in a whole year, how many times is someone supposed to take it?
It's supposed to be taken twice in a year. So if you take it 6 months after, before you can now take the other one. But people now take it as daily pills.
Exactly.
I can remember we were having a program. It was a workshop where we were discussing about that, because when they do the advertisement, they usually not specify for them to be more clearer. So a friend was sharing with us that her friend uses it every day. Just after sex, she uses it, and she thinks it was just daily pills for her. Until she got in contact with her, that was where she enlightened her more about it. So we're now thinking about how to bring it out so that the youth will know that this really affects them. It's not supposed to be taken every day.
So, do you have something to say about the emergency contraceptive?
Not much.
Okay, so I am going to use this opportunity to say this. The emergency contraceptive is supposed to be taken twice a year, in a whole year, as Shao said. It is not something that you take every day. If you want to get a birth control plan, I think you should. There are other methods that you can use. We have long-term methods and we have short-term methods. So you just have to go to a health center and then tell them which of them will be suitable for you. They will take you through it. Stop taking birth control, emergency contraceptives, because they say that we have the normal ones, where with the daily pill where you have to take one every day. And the emergency contraceptives, as the name implies, emergency. It's like, so let's say you are on a regular, the daily pill, and then maybe you forgot to take it, and somehow you get intimate with someone. That is, you take it immediately. But even after that, you have to revert back to your daily. So I see a lot of people use it, and they say it has effects.
Serious effects.
It has really serious effects that can damage your uterus and all that. I don't think I am an expert on that. Maybe someday we'll talk about this whole issue here, but I know it has very serious effects. So if you know anyone that abuses it, please tell the person that you are supposed to take this thing just twice in the whole year. Just twice in the whole year. Or if you play your cards right, not at all. So back to Shao, we are still talking about the effects of drug abuse. So do you know that, do you have any idea if we have any rehab centers in Ghana?
Yeah, I think recently I asked for rehab centers around Tamale.
Yeah.
Then the contact was at the Tamale Teaching Hospital Psychiatric Unit, where issues of drug abuse, which often leads to addiction, are referred to the center there. But I was reading around, and then I saw other rehab centers in Accra. We had one that was called from, I think they were true, and that was based on a case study someone was doing for a particular project with. But I still think that this is still a call to action to have more rehabilitation centers. You realize that individuals don't even want like going to the hospitals in the first place, and that's why we have so much drug abuse cases.
Yeah.
So we have those rehabilitation centers, around, and they are a bit distant from the hospital. Then you can have individuals, going there to for such a reversal of such abuses, so that people don't get to see them at the hospital, because that also has a stigma and its related issues.
Yeah. And so that's the same question. Have you heard of any rehab centers in Ghana?
Actually, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. So I know that we have mental health facilities around, but like rehabilitation centers, I haven't really heard.
Yeah, the marketing is so low. So this also an opportunity for them to take advantage of the markets out there.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I only know of maybe some people just take it upon themselves, like private places where people just decide that, okay, we would help these people overcome their drug addictions or stuff like that. But I haven't really heard of any rehabilitation centers, which I think that at this point in time it should be a thing that we should have, because the thing I'm getting here is that the drug abuse numbers in Ghana keep surging up. I don't know, there was one time Nana Namwa used to do this program. You saw the number of people that would come together to share their experience, and I feel like at this point stakeholders should take it upon themselves to have rehabilitation centers around. Like, we need to intensify the campaign on drug abuse and substance abuse. It's like anytime we just mention it, we just narrow down the conversation to a particular set of drugs.
Yes.
And we don't talk about the side where it can kill people, like just regular basic drugs that we think there's the paracetamol and all that. They say that it can actually kill you if you abuse it. I think that the education just gears towards the weed, the codeine, and the rest. So I think that it's about time stakeholders come together and then intensify the campaign on drug abuse and all that. Before I continue, I'm just going to give out my second airtime, and if you have any contributions, please leave them in the comment sections. And the conversation is still on drug and substance abuse, so if you just joined us, your contributions are very much welcome. So I'm giving out Airtel Tigo. I'm giving out Airtel Tigo. So, and I haven't had anyone indicate in the comment section that they have gotten the Vodafone airtime. Why? I think I should probably mention the Vodafone airtime again, and it's the numbers as follows: 6485 4727 252253. The Vodafone airtime is 6485 4727 252253. That is Vodafone. If you get it, please indicate it in the comment section. And this is a reminder that this program is sponsored by the GH Alliance, Simavi, Gabby's Beauty Parlor, and Simavi. I think I've already mentioned that already. And I'm giving out Airtel Tigo too. So fastest fingers, and the numbers are as follows: 5353 3936 2949 2501. Airtel Tigo 5353 3936 2949 2501. And I'm also hearing that we are having some technical challenges with the internet connection, so we duly apologize for that. I think it's a nationwide thing, and exactly. So it's a nationwide thing. So I'm hearing that there is some breakages and stuff in the streaming, and we are very sorry for that. So back to the discussion. One thing that we mentioned earlier on was about the high people take these drugs for high energy level to work. Do you think that like taking these drugs helps them to work? Doesn't it rather make you weak?
What normally happens with the work is that when you are working, your interest is to get the work done. The weakness rather comes after the work. So with works like construction, I know people in construction that, you know, at the start of work, they get these energy drinks or some of these drugs like the tramadol or other painkillers, and they're able to work the whole day without, you know, any stress or any feeling of getting tired. And so they're able to do this work. It's rather when you get back to the house that you now feel the tired, but then all their interest is getting the work done and getting paid. And once they get paid, someone said that with construction, you always end up, you know, using your energy to buy drugs because that's always what you use to enhance your activity. And that is not only in construction. When you go to Kumasi and magazine, these are people that deal in scraps, and so the whole day they are scouting around looking for scraps to sell and then get their daily wages to sort themselves out and their families as well. And so at every point in time they are using these drugs. So recently I was telling a friend that the way he's chewing this tramadol like a granite, I'm afraid for him. And he was like, that's their style there, because you are always in competition with others. When you go there, it's a whole different market altogether.
So do you think that there is something the government can do in relation to this drug problem?
I think one thing in relation to, you know, solving most of this is law enforcement. First of all, I always ask myself, where do these drugs come from? So if government knows that there's too much drugs in the system and they're able to find, you know, the door through which the drugs come from, then they're able to lock it. I mean, if we don't have them coming through the door, some will say some might come from the window, but at least you and I both know that the door is far bigger than the window. So to some extent, we'll be able to reduce the inflow. And once we're able to reduce the inflow, you don't have people getting access to this, talk less of consuming it. We having the side effects, both personal and the social, that we are seeing as we see today.
I'm sure that's do you think that there is something that we can do differently? So let's start from people that prescribe drugs for us at the health center. What do you think they can do differently to help with curbing this drug abuse problem, starting from the health center?
Okay, I think before you prescribe a medicine for someone, looking at the person, let's say a young person goes to the hospital and a doctor prescribes a drug for that person. The pain that person feels, that person may take it more. But if the young person is going with someone assisting him or her, so the drugs should be kept with the person who is going to supervise that person to take the drugs. I think with that one it will help. And
okay, go on.
And also help the drugs is available for everybody. And as my colleague rightly said, because anywhere you go you see it, that makes them get it easily. But if government should put a measure in place to check on how the drugs enters, I think it will help curb the drug abuse.
Okay, so Hafiz, there's this thing I've been meaning to ask you. What do you think that over-the-counter drugstores, I think, I don't know, in some parts of, in some places, when you go to the pharmacy for a drug, they ask you for a prescription. But I'm not sure about over-the-counter medicine sellers. Would you say that it's because people just have easy access to over-the-counter medicine that is a contributing factor for this drug and substance abuse?
With regards to pharmacy, what normally happens is that we have the pharmacy and then the over-counter. There are some drugs that the over-counter they are not supposed to sell, which can be gotten at the pharmacy level. And even with the pharmacy level, most of the time you need prescriptions for those.
But wait, do they even check for prescription at the pharmacy level at all?
That's another thing we have. That's why I talked about enforcement at all levels, and that's one of the ways we could easily fight this. And even with the over-the-counter, you realize that most of them are so deeply, situated in communities that they rarely get this regular monitoring or supervision from appropriate authorities. So to some extent, they end up selling drugs that they are not supposed to be selling, and rather be supposed to be sold at the pharmacy level. So because they are not getting the supervision, they end up doing to some extent whatever they want to do. And I mean, people they always say that pharmacy or over the counter is a business. So whatever they also want to do to make their money, people will do at the expense of the lives of individuals and even the effects it has on us as community members.
Yeah, that's true. And what do you think that the people at the pharmacy or at the drugstore can do to also be able to contribute to this fight against drug and substance abuse?
I think when a person comes to buy drugs, you should first of all check for the prescribed from a doctor before you can sell to that person. Just selling a drug because that person complains that I have a headache for that person, it can lead to the abuse, because I am feeling the pain. I have come to you that I'm having a headache, but there is not a prescribed that you should sell para for me. What if it's a stress? So I think they should constantly check on the prescribed first before selling drugs for
people. Is there anything you want to add?
With regards to that, you realize that most people also go to the pharmacies because of the hectic process involved when you normally go to the hospital. So sometimes people feel sick, and then instead of going to the hospital for appropriate investigation and diagnosis, they quickly run to the pharmacy. And because some pharmacies are also interested in their money so much than what is supposed to be, they end up sending directly to them. And then as talking about this, something just came to mind. One aspect of drug abuse that we also forgot to indicate is the fact that people get sick, they are given a prescription, they are given drugs to take. They take their drugs, along the way they get well. Remember that there is still some left. And then subsequently, along the line, few months ahead, people get similar symptoms. Instead of, going for diagnosis and investigation again, you end up falling back to the leftover drugs you have.
Why are you shading me?
Which possibly could be different symptoms altogether. I mean, as we touch each other. and that's something serious too. I've seen, even over the past, I've done myself. And it's something that we need to also look into, and then trying to join forces to kick that out as well.
Yeah, and that also reminds me, someone feels certain kinds of symptoms, then just goes to the hospital and they give him or her this particular set of drugs. She comes home, uses it, and then she's fine. And then in a month or two time, or in a week time, another person close to him or her says, you know what, my head aches, I'm feeling feverish, my eyes are turning and all. It's like, oh, this thing, it happened to me last month.
Similar symptoms.
It happened to me last month. Go and buy A, B, C, and D, and you'll be fine. I think that's also one aspect too that we need to intensify our education around. Just because our symptoms are similar might not mean that we are probably, having the same illness. It could be like, with sicknesses, sometimes the symptoms cut across.
Exactly.
It cuts across, so you can't really tell that almost every sickness will come with headache.
It will probably this issue that I have encountered.
Yeah.
When my mom was prescribing a drug, I went to when I was having this toothache, and I went for checkup and I had my medicine.
Yeah.
So after I was fine, my brother too was suffering from it. So my mom quickly told him that he should go and buy those drugs he prescribed for me. So I was like, Mom, it can't be the same thing. He has to go to hospital. But she was not sure.
Yeah.
And I advised my brother. So the next morning he went to CCH for checkup. When he went, he was rather prescribed different drugs. And he was going to take X-ray for it. So I was like,
so imagine if...
so I asked my mom, if he had used the drugs I used, and it would have been...
Yeah, in vain, yeah. That's true too. And another aspect too is when they give us drugs, as we were talking about, for instance, that's this thing I used to do. When I'm giving drugs, I hate drugs. I really hate drugs. I can't even bring myself to take a painkiller most of the times when I'm feeling pain or something. I will just lie down there and say I'm hydrating and I'll be fine. And most of the times I have to go to the hospital for that, and I'm trying. I like to do better. Because I have also realized that that's me also, you know, I wait for situations to escalate before I go to the health center, but that's a whole conversation for another day. I feel like you go to the hospital, they give you this particular set of drugs, and then you take them 2-3 days time, you are feeling better, and then you pack the drugs aside. I do that a lot. So there was one time they prescribed antibiotics for me. What I took like 4 sachets. I take 1 sachet, I'm fine. Then I kick it to the side. Then I have an infection again. I get antibiotics. I take it. So one time I had this toothache. They gave me drugs and all that. I had this particular antibiotics in it, and I was taking it and it wasn't working. My situation was getting worse. So I went back to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist told me that, ask me, do you take these antibiotics and then you don't finish them? And then I was like, yes. She was like, your body has built it's now immune to it, so I'm going to place you on a different set of antibiotics. That one was very expensive. And then she was like, if you don't finish this one and your body builds immunity to this one too, the next antibiotics we are going to place for you is the last one that you can ever take. And if you misbehave with that one too, then it means that your body will reject it. That's when I changed. I gave my life to medicine. That was when I changed. I decided to give my life to medicine because the pain I went through, toothache under normal circumstances is supposed to last for like 3 to 4 days. For 2 weeks, I was crying. Wow. And the drugs I was taking was not working because when I take drugs, I remember my mom would always say, finish your drugs or finish your drugs. But I always felt like, you know what, I am smarter. So I just locked them somewhere else. If they ask me, I'll be like, oh, I'm done. Until I had that experience, and I realized that me not finishing my drugs somehow made my body used to it or build some immunity to it. So when I really needed it to work, it wasn't working again. So I think that's also one aspect that we forget to educate people about, that when they give you a particular set of drugs, you are supposed to finish them no matter how much you feel better, so that it would fight whatever is worrying you very well. Because sometimes even if you don't finish it, I think that after 3 days you feel like you are fine. You don't take it again. Then 3 days later it comes back.
I mean, this story you just shared is more participation. I think you have to be an ambassador for drug abuse.
Now I am an ambassador. I'm always constantly reminding people around me, you know what, finish your drugs. Because what I went through for 2 weeks, I was just crying because no drug was working.
For you.
Something that was supposed to last like 3 days. I've had that toothache before. I didn't finish my drugs. So like 3 days I was fine. Then I boycotted it. My house people really suffered between that period. Yes. Because it was very bad. So now I've taken it upon myself to remind people that don't be like me. Finish your drugs. So I give my life to medicine, as I said.
I just hope you're not giving all your life to medicine.
I've given my life to medicine.
What percentage have you given to medicine?
No, I have promised that when I get drugs, I will take them. I will take them. So let's go to this one. What advice would you give to young people about using drugs for other purposes other than its medical use?
This is a serious one. I always look at everything from a bigger picture. Yeah. Personally, I feel like some people take drugs because they have so much free time. So sometimes it gives you so much time, you'll be thinking, you are getting depressed and all that. You have this time for us to get busy. Yeah. That's why most of the times, me for example, when I get up in the morning, I roam, by the time I get to the house, I'm tired. When I lie down 5 minutes, I'm off. So sometimes I don't even get time to think about some of these things. Yeah. And so this is sort of, taking drugs to that extent. Let's look at, trying to get more action into our lives. I mean, we have individuals that they break, this one, so I'm pinching you. when they don't have anywhere to go, they are in their rooms. You know, these are all moods that creates depression. And depression is one of the causes of drug abuse. So try to, move around a bit. Greet your neighbors, get to know what they are up to. You never know, some of them might link you up to better things.
Yeah.
So let's get more in our lives.
Okay, so I'm sure.
I think life is very important, and
Exactly.
you don't need to, you just have to live it once.
Yes.
So when, as he said, depression is something that can lead to drug abuse. Sitting idly, you feel like, let me try this, and it really works, because sitting idly, you feel like, oh, others are taking cedar for high. Let me also try and see whether it will get me high, and with that it just started. So I think we need to see the things that makes us more happier. So let me say, I enjoy chatting with friends a lot, or I like swimming. So at my leisure time, I have to engage myself in that. Or either you can get lots of storybooks for yourself as a young person.
Okay.
It helps.
So drug abuse is an age-old problem that has taken toll on society and health systems. Many people, particularly young people, engage in drug abuse for varied reasons, including physical, psychosocial, educational, political, and moral gains. The past decade has witnessed changing trends in the patterns of drug and substance abuse, with tramadol emerging as a leading drug that is widely patronized in the West African sub-region. Many young people initially got into tramadol abuse because of peer pressure, curiosity, or post-traumatic addiction. However, they often continue the practice for various physical and psychological gratifications, including euphoria, attentiveness, high energy levels, pain relief, and improved sexual performance. What we are saying is that drug abuse kills, substance abuse kills. The end result, you wouldn't want to trade your life for 5 minutes or less of pleasure. So in as much as we talk about not taking more than the prescribed dosage, we should also ensure that when we take drugs, we finish them.
Exactly.
When you take drugs, you finish them. When you are given a particular set of drugs, make sure that you finish the whole thing in its entirety, so that your body does not build an immunity against it. And also, I'll urge health workers to educate people that come in to the health centers on the dangers of drug abuse. And when they prescribe drugs for them, they should tell them that no matter how much pain they feel like they are going through, I think the medical experts knows best. That is why I say if they ask you to take 2, just take 2. Don't take 3, don't take 4, and don't take 1, less than the prescribed dosage. And when we are not feeling too well, we shouldn't diagnose ourselves. That's one thing too we forgot to talk about. Like people medicating, self-medication, they look at your eyes, you say that, my head hurts, my chest hurts. They'll be like, oh, it's malaria. No, you can't know if it's malaria or not unless you go and take a malaria test. So if you are not feeling well, you should go to the health center, talk about your symptoms. It might not be what you are thinking. Before you know, you are taking a drug that will go a long way to harm you. So if you joined us today, the discussion was on drug and substance abuse from young people perspective. It wasn't an expert perspective, just young people having a conversation. And I have one more airtime to give out, and this one is MTN. And the numbers are as follows: 84224276662153. 84224276662153. 53. That is MTN. If you got it, please indicate it in the comment section. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you very much, Hafiz and Amshao, for taking time off your schedules to be in the studios today. And I want to say a big thank you to GH Alliance and then Simavi and Gabby's Beauty Parlor for supporting this program. And also a big thank you to the technical crew, because they make it possible every Friday to bring this program to you. So we'll come your way next week Friday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. And make sure you tell a friend to tell 10 friends to join us. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right, so we are off.
Can I brief now?
No, don't breathe. Pictures man come on, the phones are on the load of them.
Merci, merci.
So why don't I have the pictures, Sam?
Come on. And I, what's more? Please, you guys should wait for me here. Why?
That's not true. We still have one stream. Stream at the end of the day. Yes, sir. Oh, that's
No, my the one ended.
no, but it didn't end.